2, 1, and we're going. Khalilah Scott is a Security Compliance Analyst with a Bachelor of Science in Information Technology. She's also the founder of TechSecChix, an organization dedicated to bringing women together through technology and fellowship. And in many ways, Khalilah's story, I feel some similarities, but very clearly there's some differences. So today we're going to talk with Khalilah about her journey, how she came into the InfoSec realm, and beyond that, I really want to highlight how Khalilah has really forged her own path in cybersecurity. And I personally know that that is a long and it is a very lonely road, and you need all of the help that you can possibly get. And Khalilah brings with her the lesson that you don't have to be alone. We can choose to become part of something bigger than ourselves, or we can take the initiative and build something on our own. And today, we have the honor of becoming part of Khalilah's story as Khalilah becomes part of ours. Welcome, Khalilah.
Thank you for having me. I am so happy to definitely be on the show finally. This is really dope. So for those that may not know, I am Khalilah Scott. Most people call me Kiki from time to time. Those people that are I'm really cool with call me Kiki, especially Cody. So yeah, for me, my journey started with college. I won't say it necessarily started with college, but I was always a gamer. I was always into tech. But I was never confident enough within myself to pursue a career in that area. And so again, just seeing like various family members that are in tech, that my uncle helped me build my first PC. It's just been a really great ride, and I'm very humble to be here now. But just giving a little bit of a backstory. So I just graduated about a month ago from Purdue University Global. And
Congratulations.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I graduated with honors. Um, and the major was in information technology with a focus on information security and assurance. And then during that time, while I was still in college, I founded the TechSecChix, which is a women's organization that is geared towards supporting women throughout their journeys, providing resources when we can, and then just having a cyber sisterhood where we can be there for one another in those difficult times, and then in those good times as well. So through the good and the bad. What prompted me to start the TechSecChix is mainly because I felt like even though I had a support system from my family members, it was more so still really lonely, because even talking about the tech side of things and um, just in general the cyber side of things, they got it, but then they didn't get it. So I wanted to make sure that I could provide a sisterhood for other women to have someone to talk to, speak to, find resources from, things of that nature, because I felt like that was something that was lacking during my journey over the past few years. Um, and I didn't want to wait until I got a job in InfoSec to do that. I decided to do it while I was still in school, didn't have a job, hadn't even did my internship or anything of that nature. So I think that's one of the takeaways from that situation is that It's okay to branch out and reach out and network with like-minded people, to not only find that support or to be that support for others. Because I imagine there has to be a lot of women out there that are feeling just like me through this journey, feeling lonely, feeling just isolated. We have a lot of the introvert thing going on within our community, and so it's good to be able to just find a safe space where we can just be ourselves.
And I think that's wonderful because, honestly, I'll be candid. A lot of times I feel a little bit like an outsider, and that might, for some people, that might seem strange. They might, they'll see the background, they'll see the LinkedIn, they'll see all the things, and they'll be like, well, how can you feel like an outsider when you've got all these things going on? And it's really difficult to really explain to someone how you get to that place. And like, if you're lucky enough to pull yourself out of it, that's even rarer in my opinion. And to take it a step further and build your own network of support is honestly incredible. Because like, I remember growing up, there'd be times you'd come across a great person, and then there's gonna be like a lot of turds along the way too.
Yeah.
But I think that's wonderful. And if there's anything that I can really I guess contribute, it would be through situations like this, giving people a voice, sharing their stories, understanding what their motivations are. I think more conversations like this need to happen.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree. I definitely aim to be the representation that matters within this industry, especially among women and Black women at that. I want to, be the face of something that teaches young Black women that there's a space for them here in cybersecurity and InfoSec, and just in the tech field in general. It just really means a lot to be able to, put out there some good things and good resources, where they can genuinely find their way into this industry. So and it's not just with the women, it's not just with the Black women, it's just more so I talk to a lot of different people. Like, I have different conversations where we will link up and just have like a group setting where I talk to people about being entry level in this. It is not something that is super easy. However, it is doable. I don't want to ever discourage anyone from doing their best and putting their best foot forward when it comes to their career and something that they are actually interested in and really enjoy and love doing. So I always want to be that voice that can represent the newcomers, because I'm still, like, I've been at my job 6 or 7 months. However, I'm still new, I'm still fresh myself, but that doesn't mean that I don't have something to add to that conversation.
Mm. And in my own way, I kind of understand that, because I've been nerding on this stuff since I was a teenager, and I've been kind of hanging out in the industry, like in the background, for the longest time. But on paper, I'm still relatively new to the industry, and I'm still making new friends. I'm still rekindling like those relationships that might have fallen off the rails over the years, because that's an important part of networking too. I don't think a lot of people kind of realize that is, initiating the conversation, like Big Daddy, right? Initiating the conversation is half the battle, but keeping that conversation going is the other half. It's
I
I think there's some people that might have a little bit of a misunderstanding of what people say when, or what people mean when they say the word networking, because
Yeah,
you don't want to go into a situation and introduce yourself to someone and then that's all there is. You know,
right.
you don't want someone to feel like they're being taken advantage of. And so, hey, things like jumping in on people's streams, participating in the conversation, liking and retweeting people's content. I mean, that's all part of it. You don't necessarily got to be like, hey, what are you doing? So,
Yeah, and I think it's all a really big part of people networking. And again, if you do feel comfortable enough to reach out to somebody to ask those specific questions that are very specific to the area that you may want to go into when it comes to cyber, when it comes to InfoSec, I think having safe spaces and safe people that you can reach out to and ask those questions to, I think that's a really big deal. I think that is a part of, again, the people networking aspect, but it can go a long way. Um, I will be the advocate for people networking because it has worked so well for me. And I
yes.
will give a few examples of that.
Yeah, please
So
do.
one of the first examples that I would give is, I people networked from the beginning when I first started in college with John Breth, which is AKA Jay Bizzle on Twitter. And we're really good friends right now. Like that's like one of my best friends. And again, starting out, he was very encouraging, giving some really good information, and he helped to provide some information about a contest that was going on with the lady on Twitter, where she was giving away a CompTIA bundle, with the study guide and a financial guide, and then, a Security Plus exam voucher for free for people that were really, really passionate and into, what they were doing and really wanted to take that extra mile. And I was one of the people that won that, which I'm always still humble and grateful for because it kind of plateaued me to a whole nother level from where I was before I passed that exam. So again, I studied for it, passed that exam January of last year.
You passed on the
Uh,
first try, didn't you?
I did.
I feel like, yeah, I feel like I remember hearing this. Yeah,
I did. Yeah, first go round,
that's
I
right.
did. And so it was a really big deal for me. And then again, I made a post about passing it, and then within that thread, a couple of people were just like, well, what do you want to do next? And I was like, well, I'm in college still, so the logical thing would be to get an internship, a cybersecurity internship or an InfoSec internship, so I can get some real hands-on experience without all the pressure of being in an actual job first. And then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so that was kind of my go-to thing. Plus, I needed it to graduate.
Mm.
And so I posted that, and then somebody reached out to me in my DMs. His name was Paul, and he worked at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Florida, and they were looking for cybersecurity interns. And he was like, I think you really got a good chance, and like, just, I'll refer you. Let's just do it. And so I did it. I interviewed, and I got it. I was actually the only person last year, that got the cybersecurity internship. So to be not only a woman that got it and a Black woman that got it, like it was a really big deal to me, a really big deal. So that went down. That was great because it gave me an opportunity to work with like the GRC team, the AppSec team, the Red team. So I got to work with different areas within the cyber field during that internship. Now going in, I had already thought a lot about going into the GRC area.
Mm.
And then going into that internship, I was still not sure what I really wanted to do and where I really wanted to go. But after that internship, I was absolutely, completely sure. Like I had my mind made up. And even though that internship did not turn into a job offer, um, immediately following that, I started applying for GRC analysts, and I made sure I put it on Twitter that people knew, just in case, somebody came across my tweet and was just like, oh, okay, she's looking for GRC analyst roles. If I know somebody, I can connect her or reach out to them, or, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and one of the TechSecChix found this post early in the morning, like right before I found it. And she was like, yo, they got this post. It's really cool. It's an entry level position. It's GRC. And so I reached out to the guy and I DM'd him from his post. And I was like, hey, this is my situation. This is where my experience, I don't have a whole lot. But I do have some. And then these are the things that I've been working on in the meantime, outside of school, to, just make myself more familiar with different NIST and ISO standards and, the whole not HIPAA standards,
Yeah, let's
PCI,
let's
the
kind of
whole.
unpack that a little bit.
We will. But just finishing up this story, he reached back out to me. He was like, okay, I'll take a look at your application. And I actually put him as a referral on my application. And it turns out he was the hiring manager. And he is now my manager, which his name is Zach. But he hired me. He gave me a chance, 6-figure salary, out the gate, still in college, and he took a chance on little old me. But I definitely say that to say this. I know there's a lot of talk going around on Twitter and things like that about not being able to do things like that. I am living proof that that is not the truth. It doesn't happen for everybody, of course, but if you find yourself in different situations, depending on the job, depending on the experience, depending on the drive behind it, you can get to wherever you want to be. I want people to know that they can get to wherever they want to be going forward.
Got to be willing to put in the work.
Absolutely. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the work.
And as part of doing the work, I feel really bad for being like, let's unpack that in the middle of your story.
No, it's okay. So yeah, so what did you want to unpack? The GRC aspect of it?
Right. And so when we found that person, when we found that person that gives us a chance, we want to be sure that we don't go into those situations looking like clowns. The best way that I could put that, you don't want to go in looking like a clown. And best way that you can do that is hit those books or hit those blogs, hit those YouTube videos.
And I think even leveling up on your skills and on your learning is always a really good thing. But there's nothing like getting the hands-on experience that kind of really sticks with you a lot more than anything. But if you have a company that is willing to take a chance and actually say, this is an entry level position and we're open to having people that don't have these certifications or don't have a college degree, and we're open to teaching them, because the tech, even the GRC, can be taught. There are certain things that they are looking for outside of that, via the soft skills, via being able to work well within a team setting, being able to or open to learning new and different things. So again, You know, if that company is saying we're taking on entry level people, they need to be very open to that. My company is very open to that. Like, I've been learning the entire time I've been there. And I've learned a lot in a short time that I've been there. Um, and again, they don't put a whole lot on my back where it feels like I have to do this imposter thing, or I have to feel like I need to be at this point, um, in order to be accepted or in order to be respected within my company. That's not the case. They are very aware that I'm very new, and coming out of school and coming out of internships. They're very aware of that, and that is always at the forefront whenever they teach me different things. And that's really refreshing because you don't really catch a lot of companies or tech jobs where they say that it's entry level and they mean
Yeah, that's true.
it's a
There,
really big.
there's some charlatans out there on the job postings for sure.
Mhm. Yeah. So it's been exciting. Like I say, I've learned a lot. I'm still learning. Um, but to me, that's the most exciting part of being in cyber or infosec is just that you're forever learning. Like, there's so much different stuff to learn out there, and I don't know. I think that's just the most exciting part because you just never can know enough.
Right.
Uh, but to a different person, that could be overwhelming because you never know. You know what I mean? Like, you're
Yeah.
never a master of your craft. Like, you can be really really good at it and still not be a master at everything that
Mhm.
involves that position. So
That is unfortunately a struggle I deal with sometimes. I'm over here like clicking away until like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I'm like, I'll never understand this.
yeah, absolutely,
But
absolutely.
I, you know, I think striving toward mastery of something, you know, within, you know, reason, you don't want to burn yourself out. You don't want to rub people the wrong way. You don't want to push people out. But I think striving toward mastery is a, you know,
It's a good
kind of
path.
lost on society these days a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, no one wants to be, well, I won't say no one, but in this day and age, with how the cyber and tech industry is going, is everybody wants to learn all the things.
Mhm.
And the problem with learning all the things all at the same time is you really are not taking in everything that you need to take in.
Oh yeah.
Um, so it's just, you have to pace yourself. Like, it's okay to not know something about this, but then to follow up with, you know, hey, here's how I can learn about it. Here's another resource that may be free or cheap that I can use to actually learn more about it. It's okay to not know everything though. I think we have to get ourselves out of that mindset that you need to know everything in order to start or kick off your career in this industry, because that's not necessarily true.
I agree. It's, and you know, that's circling back to why it's important to have a good support network. Situations
Absolutely.
like these, because you know, I've had a number of really tough conversations on this channel, and you know, the kind of resounding theme throughout all of those conversations has been resiliency. Pretty much above everything else is, can you take it or can you not? And it's, I know that's a little abrasive for some people, but it's honestly, sometimes it cuts down to that.
Yeah. And that's absolutely true, and that's true within any job, in any industry, in any career. Are you really able to handle what comes along with it? It's not going to be one of those smooth rides all the time, and but then that's to say it's not going to be bumpy all the time either. It's kind of a mix. It just depends on what you're doing, what type of work you're doing within this industry, and then also how you manage your time and your day. Time management is a really big thing for me. I learned how to do that within, going to school and working at the same time. I did that the entire time I was in school. And so when I transitioned into this industry, it taught me a lot about how to manage my time, making sure, that I'm setting aside time for lunches, making sure that if I have other obligations that I'm setting aside time for those. And that's an agreement that we have, with our supervisors, with our companies, with our teams. And again, like not to say to neglect, your duties of your job, you still need to have a home life balance. Like it has to be a priority, even sometimes before you get into this industry, before you get into those jobs, having a solid home life balance is really important, because otherwise you hit that burnout and then you don't know where to go from there. And again, if you don't have that support system behind you, you won't even know who to turn to ask those questions or to figure out how to get back on track. Don't get into those situations with those companies where you never have time for you. If I'm working really hard to make this salary, it doesn't do me any good if I don't have time to spend that salary or to do things for myself or to take care of myself. I just can't pay bills and go to work. Like I have to have a life in between that. And I'm a gamer. You see the Atari shirt. I'm an old school gamer. So for me, like, I mean, even before this stream, I was playing Resident Evil 2 Remake. So like I love gaming. That is just like my getaway, my chill spot, just relaxation. I don't know. I've been doing this since I was a kid. So
Well, up until very recent history, gaming was a good escape for me. I've kind of spoiled it with game hacking, so now gaming's not fun for me anymore. It's too easy.
And it's nothing wrong with that, though. It's nothing wrong with that. You know what? I think that's a really cool thing to do. And I think, blogging about certain things like that and just really sharing those, like if you are able to share those experiences, and you know what I mean, I think that's a good thing because it's motivation for other people that, especially the younger generation. Like it's really important for them to see us be real people. Like we're real people, real gamers. But at the same time, like we like to hack shit at times. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. So I mean, I just think, and I'm not a hacker myself, like I know how to do certain things, but it's just not one of my focal points,
Well,
but again,
I kind of disagree, because I mean, hey, I've seen a couple of episodes of CyberInsight with you on them. You and JB going through Try Hack Me. I know you know some stuff. I know.
I definitely know some things. And again, I think if I applied myself a lot more, I would be a different person in that realm. It's just one of those things where I'm okay with where I'm at. I've made my choice as of right now, but who's to say how that can change in the future? Like that's the beauty of being in cyber, because I could pick a different career, learn up on it, skill up on it, and literally change the trajectory of my career when I'm ready. So that's, a lot of people don't get that either. They think they have to start at one place and that's just where they have to stay. And that's not true. You can change career paths easily within this industry. But again, you have to put that work in. You have to really grind to get where you want to be, wherever that may be. But I think it's the coolest thing ever because you don't see that in other career paths. Like
Yeah.
when you're a lawyer, the most you can do is flip and be a DA or a judge. You
Like
know
if
what
you
I
hear
mean?
about a surgeon being a hack, that's probably not a
Yeah,
good thing.
it's different. It's different. However, but yeah, like it's just so open.
Mm.
And so, a lot of people, like I say, they're very hell bent on certain things at the beginning, but that could always change. That could always be something different in the future. And I just promote people to do what makes them happy. If you find something else makes you happier than what you're doing in the cyber realm, go for it. Go for it. Always go for it.
I completely agree. Part of my journey entailed doing vulnerability management shortly before getting into red teaming, and so while I was doing that, there was like two other roles at the same time, doing audit remediation for network infrastructure and doing capacity management for like 2 or 3 data centers. And so that was just too much. And
So with the audit remediation, what kind of audits were you involved in? I'm interested.
mostly PCI,
Okay.
and there's some other one I should know. I should know what it is.
It's probably SOC 2.
I I can't.
Right now, I'm
Mostly
working.
PCI though, but
Yeah, I'm working. We're working on our PCI audit, SOC 1 and SOC 2 audits, HIPAA and high trust.
yeah.
Uh,
And so if this is a part of InfoSec that you're interested in, these are keywords, these are key phrases to know.
These are key phrases, along with NIST frameworks, ISO 2701. Yeah, those are really, you will see those on every application, on every job posting, and they're there for a reason. And I actually went back today and looked at a bunch of LinkedIn job postings for GRC analysts. And the reason is because I'm looking to get my first GRC certification. And I wanted to see what the industry was, saying, maybe this is a really good one. And this is one we want you to have. And not for the purposes of looking for a new job, but just to further my education when it comes to GRC. Like I know the basics and I'm very comfortable with that,
Yeah.
but I always want to improve myself when it comes to whatever I'm doing, whatever job that I'm doing. That's just a me thing.
Yeah.
So
Relatable.
I just take time to look at those job descriptions because what better resource could I have right now than those job postings? They tell me everything that the industry is looking for at this moment in 2022. And, if it aligns with some things that I've been already looking at, that's perfect because, I can kind of do the now. The one I'm looking at is like $1,500, but my job covers a lot, like literally the entire cost of that, which is really cool. Because again, if you can get your foot in the door somewhere and they have a training budget or a learning budget, utilize that. Utilize that to your advantage. Like if you want to learn more, there's always resources and opportunities for you to learn more, but it's easier to do on someone else's dime than your own.
That's true. Hey, that's fact of life.
A lot of people don't know that.
I kind of wish I learned that one earlier than I did. would have made things a lot easier.
Absolutely. So yeah, I'm excited about that. So with my job now, I've been completely remote since I started it back in September. And next Monday, actually a week from today, I will be flying out to Colorado to meet my security team mates for the first time ever in real life instead of via Zoom or, you know what I mean, whatever. So
That is exciting.
I'm really excited. I'm really pumped up about that. Like, that's actually really dope to me. So
I know the feeling. I just recently met up with a bunch of online friends in North Carolina recently, and
okay.
we, you
That's
know,
not that far from me. I'm in Georgia.
yeah. So we were there maybe a month ago for a ski trip. Way too warm to go skiing, but that's okay. It was still a great
Yeah.
time, but no. I think this side of InfoSec kind of I think it kind of gets shrugged off a little bit, or maybe dismissed, because there's this really pervasive attitude toward GRC. So if we haven't said that, I think you probably said this earlier, but if we haven't, so governance, risk, and compliance is kind of like the method by which we kind of regulate the scope of cybersecurity throughout an organization. That's like a really broad way of defining it, but luckily we have someone that can explain it to us much better than I can.
Yeah, so you described the governance aspect of it definitely spot on. So the risk management aspect of it, or the risk part of it, is basically looking at your organization or your enterprise and, determining what those risks are within your systems, within your networks, just within the entire organization, and quantifying those risks in a way that, are we willing to, from a third party vendor, accept the risk that they may have? Are we really willing to accept the risk of using this application that is not, they may be 95% or 90% good to go security wise? Are we willing to accept that? Or are we pushing that risk back on them and saying, if something happens, you are liable for that? So that's the risk management aspect of it. And it goes a lot deeper than that, but I won't go into it. Compliance is, we have these set standards within our industry, within state laws, government laws, and including international laws that we have to abide by. Are we being compliant with those rules? Are our systems set up to make sure that when we process data that comes from like the UK, are we actually protecting that data in the way that they say we need to, because it's different from how we do it in the US. The data may be available to certain parties within the US where it's not available, which is GDRP. It may not be available for customers' data that is transmitted or housed or set data at rest within our organizations, whether it be like an AWS cloud storage. It could be anything, but if we're bringing that data over to the US, we have to protect it in a different kind of way. So compliance just ensures that we are constantly on top of that and making sure that we are following those rules and regulations at all times in any way, shape, or form when it comes to privacy and data. So GRC, like I say, it's not the sexiest aspect of InfoSec and cybersecurity, but it is definitely the heart of it.
I would say it's one of the most important, to be honest.
Yep.
Because
Very important. but we don't hear a lot about it. Like you're not going to see a GRC TV show. So you know what I mean? I have to be one of those people that the more that I learn, the more that I spread that knowledge and just, give people a better understanding of what it is that I'm involved in, what the industry of GRC, the area of GRC is, and how it helps to, create a better security posture within enterprises and organizations. So,
yeah, and at least from my personal experience with it, it never really gave me the impression that it was like a checklist kind of process at all. It always gave me the impression that it was more systematic. Like this is something deeply rooted into the very process of the business itself. Not necessarily something that you go, oh, well, we've marked off the compliance on endpoint 1,
Yeah, it's not so much a checklist as it should be a way of life.
Yeah.
Within cyber. It should be a way of life. And again, a lot of people are just now adopting GRC programs and teams. And so it's going to be a struggle at the beginning. But I think eventually that we'll see a more unified, as I will say, a more unified thing as we are going forward. And we're seeing it more and more, but there are still different businesses out there that have not adopted anything GRC. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of businesses that really aren't doing a whole lot much of anything.
I didn't want to say that, but I was just like
full shade on this channel.
Absolutely.
I'm kidding. I cause enough of a ruckus on Twitter. I don't need to bring my shenanigans to YouTube.
My gosh. Yeah, we don't need no. I mean, as long as we're not slapping folks, I think we will be okay.
I agree.
I think we'll do well.
I need to move on to the next question is what I need to do. So we've talked about a little bit about your career path. But I think maybe what might have been lost in there is that you didn't really come from like a traditional background. You have a little bit of a weird entry into InfoSec, as do many of us.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of insight is really valuable. Just understanding, hey, this is where I came from. These are sort of the lessons that I picked up over time, and this is what led me now. And I'm really curious, if you could go back and do anything differently, would you?
I would not. Everything that I did, every job that I worked, it taught me a little bit more about not only myself and just about different things in general. So I'll give you one really good example. So I had about 7 years of management experience with Taco Bell, starting from a shift manager to an assistant manager to a general manager where I was running my own stores. And again, one of the main things that I learned was the compliance thing back then, and not even realizing that was a thing. And when it comes to like the health department, the fire department, and just food temperatures and food safety, those are things that are governed, right? And then again, if you're not following those things, those could be a risk to not only other people's health, but to the food that you're serving to them. Being compliant with those means that you're on top of those things and teaching not only yourself, but your team, and keeping us updated within that setting on how to, serve safe food, and also have great customer service while doing it with speed. So it was interesting, because again I had a conversation, um, where I talked about my previous work history that I hadn't included on my resume when I sent it to this person. Um, and they were like, "Do you know you're already doing GRC?" They're like, "You've already been doing that stuff." They're like, "Are you aware of that?" And I was like, "No." And it was like, "Take for instance this, and this." And I was like, "Whoa." And it taught me a lot about transferable skills. Being someone that has leadership qualities, number one, it sets me a cut above the rest, because I don't not only know how to work well within a team, I know how to build a team from the ground up. I know how to lead a team even without being asked. So there are a lot of different things that you could take from your previous experience and career and transmit those into what you want to do or where you want to be. Um, don't downplay those experiences, because I feel like the more that you downplay those, like you're downplaying yourself, like you're selling yourself short.
Yes.
You're taking that experience away, and it's not able to be considered in that environment. Like I'm different from somebody that's a young person that's coming out of college and that's all I have is that college experience. No, I have 20 years of work experience behind me, plus college, plus certifications, plus I'm learning things outside of that. Like I'm a go-getter. Like you gotta fucking stop me, because I'm not gonna I'm not gonna stop myself. Like if I have my eyes set on something and where I want to be, I'm gonna get there by any means necessary.
Yeah. And so this energy, this is what we respect around here on CW InfoSec, because um, this might be surprising. I was a very lazy kid. I was a very, very lazy kid. And
We were kids though.
well,
What were we expected to do? Like we don't like.
yeah, that's true. Like you can't.
I'm 41. I'm 41. I just want to put that out there. Like when I say 20 years of work experience, I mean I'm 41. So I have a little bit more on everybody when it comes to work experience. But a kid is supposed to be a kid. They're supposed to be lazy, lay out in the sun, read books, chill, play, enjoying their lives.
Well, I never got that impression. Sorry, Mom. I'm probably gonna get yelled at for that one. Who cares? Dialing that back. So, but no, I agree. It's, just I look at who I used to be before the military, and I never liked who I was. I always thought I was lazy. Maybe I wasn't, but I thought I was lazy. I thought that everything was given to me and I never had to work for anything. And, on top of some other things that had gone on, it really made me feel like I really wasn't worth shit when I became an adult. And so thankfully I had the Air Force to build me up and tell me that I'm invincible.
Yeah.
It's,
How did you like being in the Air Force? Like, how did you genuinely enjoy it, or like how was that?
I can't imagine having done anything else with my life at that specific time. I think I needed that experience because there were so many missed opportunities with me growing up. Not necessarily missed opportunities on my behalf. There was other people that had missed opportunities with me while I was growing up. And it really took the Air Force to kind of put that angst into me and say, hey, there's people out there and they care, they're not going to reach out if you don't reach out to them. And that's kind of been the theme ever since, is I kind of got to make things happen for myself, because otherwise if I don't, I'm going to be a couch potato and I'm not going to do anything. So that's kind of what I took away from it.
That I can get behind. I've never been, even from the beginning, when I did start working, or, I was a teen mom. And so I didn't have a lot of options to not be a go-getter, because my success, it affected me and my two daughters. And so I just didn't have the luxury to fail. Failure was not an option, and nothing that I did failure. So when I did fail at certain things, I took it really hard. This is so me graduating with the InfoSec degree is the third time I've been to college. The first time I was 18, and I went for pre-law because I like arguing. I don't know. I'm with that shit.
Would it be bad if I said you look like you like arguing?
I know. I'm very opinionated, and I'm very matter of fact about certain things. So if I know, I know. If I don't, I'm open to you schooling me. But if I know that shit, you might as well hang it up.
I'm okay. I'm okay with it, because sometimes myself included, sometimes people got to be corrected on the spot.
On the spot. Like, we not gonna let a day go by.
Yeah.
If you come and talk to me about something and I know you don't know what you're talking about, I'm like, all right, here we go. But yeah, so that was the first time. The second time I went for nursing because, my family convinced me that this was this cash cow, and, I should definitely do this because it's good money and it'd be great for me to have this job making good money for me and my girls. And I went there and dropped out of pre-law, and went for a couple of years ago for InfoSec and completed it with honors, and love what the hell I do. And I make more money than both of those jobs combined that I was going for. So very happy I stuck it out.
Relatable.
Very happy.
And it's wonderful to see someone with this much excitement. And while I don't necessarily consider you a newcomer, I know maybe you do, but it's refreshing to see a familiar face who still has like that newcomer energy about them. Because when I'm popping shells, sometimes popping shells is always cool, but that rush, it's kind of faded over the years. The shell tolerance has gone up.
No fireworks.
But I don't know, maybe someday I'll pop another shell or get me going again. But
yeah,
it's it is really refreshing, just seeing someone who has an established, I would say, an established name in this field, and still finding new things to enjoy about it. I think that's wonderful.
I think keeping that joy is the recipe. You know what I mean? If you still have that joy, that means it doesn't mean that you haven't experienced burnout. It doesn't mean that you haven't experienced hardship, but it still means that you have that love for it and that passion for it. And that's always going to be your driver, or that's still your drive at that moment. And that's hella important to have. And I know people say you don't have to have passion to be in tech. Yeah, you don't. However, when you do, it separates the best from the mediocre. Like, and I hate to say that like that, but like you got people that are just like, yeah, I'm here. And then you got people like, I'm fucking here. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I'm here.
Yep.
So I don't know, it's a different vibe. Because those people that have that extra oomph, like, I don't know. Those are the greatest teachers. Those are the greatest allies to have. Those are the greatest people to connect with, because you're not the only one out there with that same energy. Like, you meet all these different people with that same energy, and you just like, yo, we keep motivating one another. Like, we keep teaching each other different things, and just keep pushing each other to want to learn more, and just like, yo, I wonder how you did that. So now I'm nosy and curious, and now I really want to learn how you did it, and now I'm gonna teach myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's stuff like that that I think keeps the community really going. Like, it's always gonna be drama within InfoSec. Like, I just think it's a social media thing. However, there's so many dope people that you can meet within this industry and connect with that are just motivators. They are just excited just as much as you are, even if it's in a different area, but they will get you excited about their area, and then you'll get them excited. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's just a give and take kind of relationship. And so I just think that's the most special part of this industry to me.
I would agree. I've loosely talked about this person once before. I still have a mentor going on about 12 years now. 12 years of mentorship. 12 years. And
Oh my gosh.
so this guy, we very much have like an Emperor and Darth Vader relationship. It's like he arrived on Tatooine one day, found Anakin, and he's like, "You're gonna be my Darth Vader from now on."
young Jedi Knight.
Turned Sith Overlord. But
Right. Wait, no, that was look. That's more like Senator Palpatine.
Palpatine and Vader. That's exactly how it's been. And so there's been a lot of energy from him, but so I remember the first day that I kind of like came into his realm. So it was when one of my first days in Okinawa on at Kadena Air Force Base, and so I'll call this guy Sarah. So I find my desk in disarray one day, and I was like, "Who messed up my desk?" And someone was like, "Oh, it was probably Sergeant Sarah." So I was like, "I'm gonna go find this guy." So went.
Right.
So I found him, and I like popped my head up over his cubicle like this. He was like, I can't say it on YouTube, but he was like, "You look like a stupid Muppet." And I was like,
What?
"I just popped my head up over a cubicle. I didn't even do anything. You messed my desk up. Why'd you do that?" He was like, "Because I'm your new supervisor." And I was like,
Okay.
"Or it is."
Okay.
But no, he turned out to be like one of my best friends. I
Oh, that's so dope.
I wouldn't be doing this if not for him. And you know,
That's how I feel about a lot of the people that, like Davin. He's like my brother, like legit my brother. He's very good at, listening if I need to talk or I need to vent, but then he's very good at just being like, "Sis, you tripping? Get it together."
I mean, so
You know what I mean? Like, he will definitely check me, and I can appreciate that, because not a lot of people have that space in my life or that relationship with me where I'm gonna let you check me and just sit in silence. Yeah. So him, Tyrone, JB, like, they keep it so real with me, and like those are some of like the really good front runners within our industry that are just really awesome dudes.
Oh yeah.
Like hands down, awesome guys. But I always appreciate having the, support and having the moments where we do have those real talks where I'm not always right. Sometimes I'll be in my hormonal feelings and just be like, fuck the world,
Been there.
And it's just like, it's good to have people that keep you grounded and keep you in a good headspace or can just talk you out of that mindset sometimes. I think it's needed to have that. And again, I have the TechSecChix. I got so many homegirls, so many sisters that will just be like, what's going on, girl? Everything all right? But again, to have both of those worlds within this industry, like I think I'm a very blessed and fortunate person.
Mm.
I think everything that has happened thus far, everything I've been through, every experience has led me to the right people, including yourself. Like, I think you are so dope.
Sometimes.
Yeah, look, when I told my daughter who I was doing this interview with, she couldn't believe it. Because she remembers when I was on Davin's show and the whole reveal.
The spoiler.
Yeah, the spoiler alert. And she was like, what? That's who you doing the interview with tonight? And I was like, yeah. She was like, oh my God, that's so dope. I can't wait to watch it. And
what can I say? The cloud provides.
I was like, yeah, it's hashtag Cloud Bay. They kind of like, my girls was just like, whoa,
yeah,
that's crazy. But yeah,
no, I remember the early days of the spoiler and coming in and
yeah.
Even now, most
people don't know, because those that were there, we don't really talk about. We will never, like, you could never ask us who it is and we tell you. We literally are loyal to a fault. Like, we don't tell.
There's gonna be a whole crowd of people like, what are you two talking about all of a sudden?
We make them find the episode and figure it out for themselves. Like, we just, nope, we like, sorry, you had to be there.
Yeah. I think I need to probably send a message to our long lost friend Anonymous and see where he's at these days, see if he can come back out.
Absolutely. Definitely.
Where do you see the field going? You see it going in a more positive direction? See it going in a negative direction? I'm kind of curious.
Are we talking about GRC or just cyber in general?
Cyber in general, I would say, because there's, like all sorts of concerns with automation and AI, and then you throw in like all of the people problems and
now
intercontinental cyber warfare. And
I think within the next 50 years, we definitely are going to see a positive impact on cyber. With that being said, the good is not going to come without the bad. The more we see of inventions and different software and different things that we are creating, we're definitely going to see the bad side of it. We're going to see people that don't want to see that happen. We're going to see people that want to destroy what is being built. And then we're going to see, the typical cyber criminals, that want to just make a quick buck off of doing certain things. I don't think it's going to be an either or. I think it's going to be a both moving equally in a certain direction. Now, when it comes to AI, are we talking Skynet? Are we like, what are we talking about here? Because we all know how that ends.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So,
so I don't think a future of Terminators is going to be in the cards. I find that really hard to believe that this.
not in the next 50 years, I wouldn't say, but I mean, the smarter computers get, the smarter AI gets, and the more we use it, it's eventually going to become smarter than us.
I can see that, but I think what I would be, I guess, more concerned of with the technology that I know exists. Um, and like it's not wrong. There's nothing weird about well, what if Terminators? I mean, it's a legit possibility. It's
Yeah.
but we're also living in different times, I guess, too. So in the sense
Yeah.
that you know
I don't
what
think we are anywhere near that.
it's like what we thought might be that technology in the 80s, it might not even look like that when it arrives.
Remember Y2K?
I do. And what was it even over? It was over like a clock issue, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like, I don't know if it was like a computer clock thing or a Mayan clock thing, like where it was predicted. No, I think it was like Nostradamus or something like that. That was predicted that was the end of the world. And,
Yeah.
went out and stocked up on canned goods. And I was like, damn, that was like pre-COVID, before COVID was a thing. Like real life. Like that was like really pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Because people went out and bought all that stuff thinking we were like not gonna make it or be, I don't know what they thought the canned goods was gonna do if
I
the world was gonna
vaguely
end.
I vaguely remember maybe people saying something like computers were going to crash all over the world like all at the same time and they were never going to boot back up or something.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So
Like some type of clock thing plus the
so
end of
yeah,
the
in that case,
world.
I would I guess in a weird kind of side tangent, misinformation I would say is definitely a threat to the
Number one.
security of our industry because misleading, like you get the wrong IOCs, you're following the wrong bad guys, your whole incident response program is thrown out the window. Like you have no
Oh
idea
yeah.
what you're chasing and where the holes are. So that I would say is definitely a big problem. But
A huge one. Yeah.
so what's next for you? Any cool projects, speaking engagements, or other things people might be interested in?
um I'm gonna submit a couple of talks coming up. Not sure exactly which cons I'm gonna submit them for, but I want to talk about cloud security and GRC, um, just compliance in general with the cloud environments and how that works and what that looks like, and kind of break that down a little bit. I think that might be pretty interesting. Um, I've been thinking probably in the next year or two about uh, writing a book about being a teen mom and then, my journey into tech, and just that whole wild ride. Plus, years after being into tech, I think it'll be important because there are a lot of teen moms out here. And a lot of time they don't have the support system that is needed in order for them to make good decisions early on about, what they want to do, how they want to do it, especially when it comes to tech, especially in the Black community. It's just one of those things. I used to get ridiculed all the time about being a gamer. I used to skateboard in a skirt. Um, I don't know, a little tomboy sometimes, but I was still girly. But I was the best gamer. I was killing it in Killer Instinct and Mortal Kombat and Tekken 2. But it just wasn't one of those things amongst the ladies that was accepted. So I want to just change that narrative. I want to talk about that story and then again help to change that narrative. You don't have to be embarrassed to be a girl who's a gamer. It's nothing wrong with that. But it wasn't always like this back in the day. So
No, growing up in the 90s, I remember a lot of the attitudes, and they can stay in the 90s.
Yep. Well, try the 80s. If you thought the 90s was bad, the 80s definitely.
I've heard.
Above.
I've heard. Where can people find you? Where can people reach out to you? What are some good links?
TechSecChix.com is a great space. My Twitter handle is at Ki underscore twice with a Y underscore. And then it has my link tree, which has all of my links to LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the website, some of the talks that I've done in the past. So you can find a lot of that on my link tree. So it'll
be in the description too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, I'm out there on social media. I'm usually pretty quick to respond back to people. TechSecChix has their own Instagram, their own Facebook, their own Twitter, Discord. We have a Discord as well. So if any of the ladies want to join the Discord, please drop in. We are more than welcoming to anybody that wants to link up with us. So
there you have it, folks. Indeed, go check out Khalilah Scott on Twitter at KaiTwice and TechSecChix.com. Links will be in the description below. And once again, Khalilah, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story and letting us become a part of yours. And for the rest of you, if you've ever defeated Shao Kahn with only uppercuts, go ahead and hit those like and subscribe buttons. Check out Khalilah. Twitter, LinkedIn. Check out this. Links for the descriptions. Do you have any cool outros that you do?
No.
I'm going to throw in like a video of Shao Kahn getting an uppercut at the end of this.
Right.
Flawless victory.